Hey everybody out there, so today for you guys I'm going to be doing a deck profile of a deck that I have really enjoyed playing over the course of time, especially since the structure deck came out. I think it was a couple years ago now, and that deck is Ancient Gears. So this is a deck I've had for a long period of time. I've updated it here and there throughout the course of time on this channel, and I thought, it being about 2 years since I've done an update, to play the deck this past spring and summer and even into the fall and get a deck profile out there for you guys with the current ban list and everything. So this deck, Ancient Gears, is pretty fun. It does somewhat OTK with the big fusion monsters. It's a lot more fusion predicated. It can easily go for machine links now, good rank 4s, and things of that nature, but it's mainly based on going for big fusions that can help you OTK your opponent and are hard to get around. Now, is it OTK, FTK completely, is that all it does? No. Can it go for it? Yes. But yeah, it's a very fun deck to play. So without further ado, let us get into the deck profile for you guys. So first off, I run 2 Ancient Gear Golem and 1 Ancient Gear Pound. Now, some people prefer to run 1 Ancient Gear Golem and 1 Ancient Gear Pound. I like the double Ancient Gear Golem because I am using them more as fusion targets for my Ancient Gear Fusion and my other fusion cards that I run in the deck. And that's why I run 2 Ancient Gear Golems, because with some of your fusions, this makes it easier and better to go for with 2 Ancient Gears than 1. And same thing with Pound. Pounds are a good card overall, but you're mainly going to use these guys for fusion targets and having them on the field as big beaters that can put in a lot of damage as well. So 2 Ancient Gear Golem and 1 Ancient Gear Ultimate Pound. That's the ratio I run of the big boys there. We also run 2 Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, which is really a nice card. I don't run the Ancient Gear Gadget in this deck. That's something I'll talk about more when I get to the Gadget Engine part of this deck. But I do like the true Reactor Dragon. It's really useful. It's very powerful in the different plays you can do. You can easily bring this bad boy out, and overall I like it as a 2-of in the deck. Then we run Ancient Gear Wyvern, which is pretty much your searcher for Ancient Gear cards. You run this as a staple 3-of in any Ancient Gear build, hands down. The fact that you can't set it the same turn, after playtesting for a long time, I used to run for a couple years Ancient Gear Reborn, but the fact that I can't set it, I believe it is the same turn I add it to my hand, I decided to finally cut that and add other cards to my deck that were more quote-unquote, I guess, versatile and better. So yeah, but this card helps you add a whole bunch of your Ancient Gear cards from your deck to your hand, which I really enjoy. So yep, 3 of that bad boy. 2 Ancient Gear Frame. Now this card came out of Ancient Millennium a while ago. Some people prefer to run it as a 1-of, some people prefer to run it as a 2-of. It's up to you. This helps you mainly. The main thing I search out with this is Ancient Gear Fusion, though you can search out other things from time to time. You're mainly going to search out your Ancient Gear Fusion. And you want to get to your Ancient Gear Fusion as quickly as possible, even though that's probably the most expensive card in the entire deck. It is essential for your Ancient Gear plays, especially going to your fusions. But this card helps you search that out fairly easily. It's a decent little beat stick on top of that, so I run it as a 2-of. I say decent because, 16 plus is usually something that can put in a little bit of work for you if you need to. Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. This card is your polymerization type of card for your deck. It's an essential 3-of in any Ancient Gear deck, hands down. Some people I've seen run 2 of this. That's fine. I prefer 3. This card helps you go for polymerization and cards in your hand on the field into your Ancient Gear Fusion monsters. That's mainly what this Hunting Hound is used for. So not much more to say about that. Then we run 1 Ancient Gear Box. I don't like Box, but it is useful, and I only like running it as a 1-of. I've seen people run this as a 2-of from time to time. Personally, I like it just as a 1-of because it can get bricky, but I do like Ancient Gear Box as a 1-of in the deck. Next up, we run our Gadget Engine. So 2 gold gadget, 2 silver Gadget. Now, Ancient Gear Gadget, which you can run in the deck, and I'll admit, like, I was contemplating if I wanted to run in the deck, because it's like a scythe blocker, but in ancient, like as a gadget monster, and it's a cool card. Like, in concept, it's good, but at the same time, it gets bricky. It's a side blocker level 4. It's kind of the same thing I feel about Ancient Gear Box. If you draw, if it's just, like, it's cool, it's nice, but there's other cards I'd rather run, if that makes sense. It's the reason why I don't run double Ancient Gear Box. It's cool, it's nice, but there's other cards I'd rather run, okay? And I like the Gadget Engine in the deck. Like, I definitely agree with running 2 silver, 2 gold, because it helps you go for Exceed plays, helps you go for Platinum Gadget, helps you go for rank 4s. It's very versatile in the deck for the different things it can do. But at the same time, I don't like Ancient Gear Gadget too much. Some people run it as a 1 of. Some people run it as a 2 of. Some people don't even run it. I don't like running it. I've tried it before. I tried it for years. I ran it as a 2 of, then a 1 of, and then I was just like, there's better cards I would rather run the Ancient Gear, Gadget, Gadgets. So I cut it out of the deck eventually when I was rebuilding this deck back in July, and I just decided to cut it completely because I just did not like it. So I'm just running the basic Gadget Engine, which helps you go for multiple different things and has multiple different uses. So yeah, you can run Ancient Gear Gadget if you want to. I'm not a big fan of it. Then I run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. You want to run hand traps. You could run Call by the Grave instead if you wanted to, but I'm liking the Ash Blossoms because you want to negate your opponent's stuff and then go off and, do a bunch of damage to them. So while you can run Call by the Grave, or you can run both Ash and Call, I just like running Ash in the deck and not Call. So that's up to you, but I like 3 Ash Blossom in the deck. Just for negation, you want some hand traps. 2 Ancient Gear Fusion. You don't need 3. I've seen one person run 3 of it. I think they were just showing off they had 3 of them. But this card's pretty expensive nowadays. I think it's like around $35, $40 plus for a card, which is... I don't know if it's going to ever get reprinted anytime soon, but you definitely run it as a 2 of in the deck. And this is one of the reasons why I run Ancient Gear Golem as a 2 of in the deck. Because of the fusion monsters I can go for using this card. So I do like it as a 2 of in the deck. I do run some other-esque fusion cards. 1 Power Bond, which is cool for OTKs. If you want to make your deck more OTK-oriented, maybe you go for double Power Bond. It's up to you. 1 Overload Fusion. With all the resources you're going in and you're putting in the graveyard to go for your fusion plays, to go for your monsters. I like Overload Fusion because it allows me to use those resources that are engraved to, into another fusion. You don't want to run more than 1 of this, I found, because it can get clunky because it does take setup, but it's a great card to have, especially in a deck that's so machine fusion oriented to some degree. So yeah, I do like the 2 Ancient Gear Fusion and the 1 Power Bond. You could run double if you wanted to, that's up to you. And definitely the 1 Overload Fusion. So that's the ratio I run. Next up, we're going to go into some more of the spells. We run 3 Gear Town. Gear Town is great, and then we also run the 1 Terraforming. I will admit, I do run the 1 Metaverse, which, to get into Gear Town, because a lot of the Gear Town Catapult plays, which Catapult's very useful in the deck, if you guys know, to pop, special summon a bunch of, Ancient Gear stuff. It's a very essential combo in the deck to do the different plays you're trying to do. And with Terraforming being hit, it's still useful, and it's still very, it's not dead by any means, but it's some of your most powerful plays of the deck come from, popping Gear Town and doing a bunch of different things. So, like I said, you could still rely upon the Gear Town engine, not rely upon it, but I still rely upon it because it's such a powerful play if you do it with Catapult. So yeah, definitely 3 Gear Town, 1 Terraforming for your field spell stuff, along with the 1 Metaverse, which I'll show here in a second. 2 Ancient Gear Fortress. Some people run this as more than 2 of. I've seen people run it as a 1 of. Me, I prefer a 2 of this card. It's a very powerful card. Very good card. No doubt about it. But I like it as a 2 of in the deck. Then 3 Ancient Gear Catapult. This card's pretty good. I love it. On top of running Ancient Gear Catapult, it's a 3-up, I do run one Foolish Burial of Belonging. Excuse me, Foolish Burial of Goods. It used to be called Belongings in the OCG. But yeah, for one Foolish Burial of Goods. Now you say, why are you running this card? Well, if you send Catapult to the grave, you can use its grave effect right away. So say you have, you know, Gear Town out on the field, right? And I go Foolish Burial of Belongings. Send Catapult to grave. I can activate Catapult's effect to pop the Gear Town right then and there. So if I don't have a Catapult, this is like an extra Catapult that I can use the effect. So I like the one Foolish Burial. Some people don't run it anymore. I still run it because it's just really nice, and it deck thins, and it's just a nice card to have in the deck. Because this is going to be, you know, some of your main plays along with Gear Town, your basic 2-card combos are going to come from this. And this just helps accelerate that process. So that's why I run the Catapult Catapult with one Foolish Burial of Goods. 2, limit removal. This helps you with your OTKs and just get around big monsters. It's pretty simple, like straightforward. Nothing much to explain about that. Your basic one-ofs. Upstart Goblin. I want a little bit of just generic draw power in the deck. 1 Monster Reborn and 1 Metaverse because you want to bring out your Gear Town as soon as possible. So definitely the Metaverse. Some people may not run Metaverse. There's other cards you could run. What's the one called? Demise of the Land, I think it's called. Forgive me if that's the wrong card. But it's a quick play spell that allows you to bring out field spells from your deck if your opponent special summons a monster. You can do that, and that card works well, but I prefer Metaverse in this deck. Because I don't want to be reliant upon my opponent. Special summoning a monster. So that's just me. On to the extra deck. We got our Field Center. So we run 2 Chaos Ancient Gear Giant, which is one of your main fusions you're going to go for, and it's a pretty big fusion at that. 2 Ancient Geared Howitzer, which is kind of a searcher for the deck. This is one of your main fusions you will go for. Then we also have some big beefy fusions that we do go for a good amount of time. We do go for these cards. Ancient Gear Megaton Golem. We run 1 of this bad boy. And 1, the Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. We run 1 of this bad boy. So these are the ones we run in the deck. Chaos Giant, Howitzer, like I said, the 2 main ones you go for. These 2 you go for pretty often. A lot of times you go for Megaton, depending upon the situation, which is very good. And then you have Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem as well. So these are your main Ancient Gear fusions. Now let's go on to the Exceed monsters we run in the deck. 1 number 59, I think 59, Crooked Cook. Some people run this, some people don't. I understand why, but it's just such a good card to run in this deck because it helps you pop Gear Town if you need to pop a Gear Town. Or pop, the Fortress if you really want to do that. It helps you pop your cards to gain their effects if you need to. And the fact that it's an extra deck card that I can go into if I want to is the reason why I run it. 1 Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. Some people run this, some people don't. I like it still. 1 Geargant Giant X. Some people run it, some people don't. And then we also run number 41 Bagasucha the Sleeping Tapir. Now for your Exceed monsters we run 2 Platinum Gadget, which is pretty good. Corpulse Genius. Mrs. Radiant, which you still go for. And we also run 1 Bull Sword, as well as I run the Run token that you sometimes make. So I run the token just in case, the Ancient Gear token. So that's the deck in a nutshell. It's pretty straightforward. You're going to make go into Exceeds, go into Fusions, go into Links, depending upon the situation. And you're going to have a good time and a good successful time going into those monsters, And it's a fun deck to play. Like, it's not going to be meta. By any stretch of the imagination. I'm going to be straightforward with you. I took this to I took this and played this at locals just a little bit. And while I did have success, against rogue decks, you play against Orchist or something like, crazy like Sky Striker, you're in for a bad time. Unless you properly side deck. But the deck is fun to play. And it is a pretty cool deck to play. And I'm just happy it's gotten support to a point where it's actually playable in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! And while Terraforming being hit did hurt the deck still functions well. And like I said, different people run different ratios. A lot of people like OTKing nowadays. I like a balance between OTKing, unless it's Cyber Dragons, or a deck that I just know can OTK consistently. I'll build it more towards OTKing or FTKing. This deck, it can go for those plays, but I find a lot of the times it's not as good as maybe, say, Cyber Dragons or Dot Deck that can do it well. And so for that reason, I decided to try to balance it out from just having the ability to OTK to strictly being an OTK dot deck. Because I see a lot of people when I was doing research for this deck in the summertime, everybody was building like 3 limit removal OTK. That's all they talked about, and I know I'm talking about that right now. But I want to try to find a proper balance between the two, and that's what I've tried to do with this deck, and it's been pretty successful. I have found you can go for those big plays. Sometimes you don't want to, depending upon your hand. And it's a pretty good balance of a deck. So hope you guys all enjoyed it. So sorry for going on there at the end. I just wanted to explain the deck and my choices a little bit more. But till next time, guys, take care. Have fun dueling. Good luck dueling to all of you. And I'll see all of you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this deck profile. If you did, remember to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys next time. Good luck dueling to all of you.